Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Learning Hub. Subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon. Today I am going to start chapter number 3 of history, and the name of the chapter is Jainism and Buddhism. As we have already discussed that the people living in later Vedic age, they began to use iron implements, and these iron implements helped them to clear the forest, to lead a settled life, and to expand the neighboring areas. And this expansion resulted in war between different tribes because they were expanding their areas. So war happened between different tribes, and in these wars more powerful kingdoms defeated the smaller kingdoms. They expand their territory and they created large kingdoms. So these large kingdoms were known as Janpadas. When a number of Janpadas joined together, they formed one bigger Janpada known as Mahajanpadas. Is it clear? Okay. Large kingdoms are known as Janpadas and number of Janpadas are known as Mahajanpadas. 6th century BC is regarded as an important time in the world history. Why? Because it saw the emergence of thinkers like Zoroaster in Persia, Confucius in China, Mahavira and Gautam Buddha in India. In India, it was a time period when orthodox religious beliefs of the people, their practices were challenged and even got rejected by new sections. And these new sections which came in the society were Jainism and Buddhism. According to the reduced syllabus of the ICSE board, now sources topic is not there. It is not in your syllabus anymore. Now we will learn about the causes for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. First cause is reaction against ritualism. Now, what is reaction against ritualism? There were so many religious ceremonies to be performed which were expensive, which were very expensive. Rituals means it was going on since ages. For anything in those days, people have to perform religious ceremonies, and those religious ceremonies were very, very expensive. People were tired of such rituals. People wanted a new religion which is free from ritual, and Jainism and Buddhism, these religions were free from rituals. Jainism and Buddhism does not teach you to do any religious ceremonies of something like that. That is the reason why people shifted their attention to Jainism and Buddhism, because both of them were free from rituals. So what you need to remember is that people have to do many religious ceremonies. People were tired of these religious ceremonies because they were very, very expensive. So they wanted to move to a religion which is free from the religious ceremonies. Second cause is corruption in religion. There was too much corruption in the previous religion. For anything, people have to do yajna. They were forced to do yajnas for each and everything, and these yajnas were very, very expensive. They were beyond the means of the householder. Beyond means they could not afford. Such were the religious ceremonies at that time. So the people could not even afford also, and people were against it, saying they were tired. So they wanted a religion which is basically having no corruption at all. Brahmins over here are very, very corrupt also. while performing yajnas and all, they used to charge a huge fees, and for every small to big thing they ask people to perform yajnas and all. People were not having that much capacity to pay. That is why they wanted a religion which is free from corruption. And Jainism was there by Lord Mahavira, and Buddhism was there by Gautam Buddha. So they both were corrupt free persons. Next cause is the rigid caste system. Earlier, older days, if you remember, they have 4 different caste system: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. Okay, these were the 4 different caste. The 4 caste, they were very very rigid. Rigid means they were not flexible at all. They were not means you cannot change your religion. There were many restrictions on the lower caste, like the Shudras, that they could not enter into the temple, they cannot take water from the well. So if anybody wanted to change their caste, people could not change their caste. So people wanted such a religion. They wanted to come under Jainism and Buddhism. Then next cause is difficult language. The earlier religions, the earlier caste, whatever their teachings were there, everything was in the Sanskrit language. Whatever mantras, whatever chanting, all were given in Sanskrit language, which was quite difficult to understand for the people. That is the reason why the people wanted to change the religion, because mantras were in Sanskrit language, the teachings were in Sanskrit language, which people did not knew. The language was basically not convenient for the people to understand. Thus, they wanted to shift in a simple language religion, and Jainism and Buddhism, they both taught Prakrit and Arad Magdi language, which people could understand. Next cause is the political situation. Bimbisara ruled the area of Magad, and after that Ajatashatru ruled over it. Both of these rulers were very liberal, tolerant, they were not very strict, they accepted new ideas, they were against the social evils. They patronized Jainism and Buddhism. They also accepted these religions. Next cause is agricultural economy. In the earlier religions, there were a lot of animal sacrifices. Okay, animal sacrifices was in practice. Farmers, they used animals in their fields. They were against the killing of animals for the sacrifice. They wanted a religion which is free from the sacrifices of animals. Now, moving on to our next part, that is Mahavira's introduction. So, the Jains, they basically learn all the messages from Tirthankaras. Okay, they learn everything from Tirthankaras. And Lord Mahavira, he is basically the 24th Tirthankara. Okay, Lord Mahavira, he is the 24th Tirthankara. First Tirthankara is Rishabdev, 23rd is Parshvanath, and 24th is Lord Mahavira. Why he was called as the founder of Jainism? Because he was the main person who spread Jainism. That is why he is called as the founder of Jainism. He was born in Kundagram in Bihar. His father belonged to a Kshatriya clan. His mother belonged to a royal family of Lichavi. He was very brave, and that is why he was called as Mahavira. At the time of his birth, his father kingdom was prosperous. So the boy was called Vardhaman, which means prosperity. After the death of his parents, he renounced the world and roamed as an ascetic, practicing severe penance for 12 years. He conquered his desires, he controlled his desires, and he became a Jina or a conqueror. And his followers came to be called as Jina or Jans, means those who have conquered their desires. Then we will learn about the preachings of Mahavira. He preached at various centers like Avanti, Kosala, Anga, Mithila, Champa, Videha, and Vaishali. And Mahavira got salvation at the age of 72 at Pavapuri in Bihar. At the time, he had only 14,000 followers at the time of his death. Then we will talk about his main teachings. Jainism did not accept Vedas. In fact, Jainism preached 5 vows. 5 vows? Okay. The first thing what Mahavira said is to follow 5 vows. What were the 5 vows given by Lord Mahavira? First is ahimsa, non-violence. Okay. Second is asteya or charya. This is basically called as not to steal anything. Third is satya. Always we have to speak truth, not to lie. Then aparigraha, not to possess anything, not to own anything. Brahmacharya, not to marry and all. These were the 5 vows which a Jain should follow. Then besides the 5 vows, other doctrines are also there. Okay, Jains are expected to have the knowledge of 9 truths. These are Jiva, Ajiva, Punya, Pap, Ashraf, Sanvar, Bandha, Nirjara, Moksha. Means we should have knowledge about this, about living things, about non-living things, about our good deeds, about our bad work. Okay, we should have knowledge. Okay, we should know about these things. Then the doctrines of Jainism. First is three ratnas. Three ratnas that are given by Mahavira are right conduct, right knowledge, right faith. These are the three ratnas. Okay, which Mahavira said one should follow if you want salvation. Salvation means moksha. If you want moksha, then you should follow three ratnas. That is right faith, right knowledge, right conduct. You say na hell and heaven. So heaven is moksha. If one wants moksha, that is salvation, then one should follow three ratnas. Three ratnas are right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. With these, you can achieve salvation, you can achieve moksha. Then next doctrine is karma. The Jains, they believed in karma philosophy. Karma is all about your deeds, your works, your action. Good deeds will lead you to salvation, moksha. That means you will be free from the cycle of birth and death. This is called as karma philosophy. See, if you do wrong deeds, you have to repay each and everything, either in this birth or in next birth. But if you do good work, okay, believe me, you will be free from the cycle of birth and death. The karma gives you good action. Next is equality. Mahavira says that all human beings, that is men and women, are equal. There should not be any differences between anybody on caste, creed, language, color. All men and women are equal. So basically, if you practice equality in your life, This is also a step towards moksha, towards salvation. Then eternal soul. Already we know soul is eternal. Mahavira says that once a person dies, it's a body only which dies. Soul never dies. Soul is eternal, immortal. Then salvation. Salvation is moksha. In Jainism, it is said that if you practice a very strict life, you might have seen Jain sadhu, a Jain monk and all. They try to wear as minimum clothes as they can because they have to wash their clothes. And for every washing of your clothes, also there is a sin. For walking, they walk barefooted. Why? Because so that the smaller insects they don't get killed. Once you practice non-violence, once you practice austere life, okay, that's when you are sure of salvation, moksha. And the ultimate goal of any individual is to achieve moksha so that you are free from the cycle of birth and death. Then last doctrine is believe in penance. Jains, they believed in penance. Dying of starvation is called Santara. Sulekhna means you are fasting and when you die. And because Jains or Jainism has such an austere life, such a strict life, Jainism had a very few followers. That's why today also Jainism is in minority. Okay, then we will talk about the spread of Jainism. Jainism was followed by many kings. That's why it spread easily in Kerala, Magad, Mithila, Champa, and in some other parts of India also. In South India, Jainism was followed by Chalukya kings. Then Jainism became a dominant religion in Karnataka, Odisha, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. So we will learn about the causes also for the spread of Jainism. First one is local dialect. Mahavira adopted the language of the common people. That's why people found it easier to follow. Next is royal patronage. Chandragupta Maurya, okay, he converted himself to Jainism. Many other rulers, kings also helped in the spread of Jainism. Then saints, many saints made it popular like Kalkacharya, Bhadrabahu. Then appeal to the people. People found it very attractive because there was no animal sacrifice, there was no class division, it was very simple. Then Jainism is divided into two sects. Okay, Shvetambras and Digambaras. First one is Shvetambras, or they were also known as white clad people. It was led by Stulbhadra. They used to wear white clothes and they covered their faces with a small white piece of cloth so that to avoid the killing of tiny insects or germs. They used to do fasting, but they did not believe in hard penance. Then second sect is Digambaras. Digambaras followed Bhadrabahu. They were also known as sky-clad people, and they did not believe in covering their bodies with extra clothes because according to them, while washing clothes, many germs would get killed, and they were very orthodox. They kept long fast, led an austere life. Then, what was the impact of Jainism? First one is political impact. In accordance, or you can say in early stages, its success was more remarkable in comparison to Buddhism. It was Kshatriyas who took this new faith. As a result, they lost their warlike instincts. They lost their warlike instincts because Kshatriyas believed to do wars. and with the Jainism they stopped doing all these kinds of wars, and it is one of the reason why Jainism did not try to build any political impact. Then next impact is the social and religious impact. Jainism, they discarded the system of casteism. They stopped, they shunned all the rituals, and they encouraged social services. They rejected all these systems, they did not accept it. Then language and literature, their texts were written in Prakrit language, but at some places they were also written in local language. Angas contained 12 books. It contains the teachings of Mahavira, and generally all the religious text was written in Prakrit language. Then art and architecture. Jain constructed temples, monasteries, they constructed dharmshalas, they opened orphanages. Okay, then we will talk about why Jainism religion declined. Because they were very strict. Their rules were strict, and at that time Buddhism religion also existed. They did not get popular support. It was not spread out to foreign countries as well. They did not get support from many rulers, kings, and in opposite to that, Buddhism religion got support from many rulers. Jainism, means they were unable to advocate equality among rich and poor people. Hinduism once again became popular during Gupta's period.